It's JP1, and I'm SooDetroit.
Fresh off the release of Fire and Brimstone, did you feel you got the response that you were looking for?
Yes, I had a great response. I had an even bigger response than I anticipated. So I'm feeling good. I'm in a great place, in a beautiful place, actually.
Now that it's out and getting reviews and people rocking with it, is there anything you would have done differently?
Not at all. I feel like it was every album is a timestamp for me. So each time I drop a project, I feel like that's the best project I could have did at that time. And even though I'm going into a trilogy and it's still, the title is the same as far as Fire and Brimstone, each project is like a closure. So I have one, boop, it's closed, it's on to the next one. And I feel like for what I was going through at that time, Fire and Brimstone was like the perfect statement. And I wouldn't do anything different. I felt like it was great.
With Fire and Brimstone 2, which is dropping soon, talk about your features from that album.
Well, I got Black Milk, who also did the beat that we rocked on. Elzai, Guilty Simpson, Jovi, Pierre Anthony, Chill Strong, and I got a couple R&B cats, 3D Hood King, and Latoya Hart. She actually kind of knew. I know her from church. I grew up with her, so she not really like got a little decent name. Everybody else got a kind of a name, so it's a good thing. I feel good.
Pierre Anthony voice is crazy.
Y'all love Pierre Anthony. You know what? I told him that though. I told Pierre Anthony to call y'all because I told him, I say, man, they love you over there at SooDetroit. Because the last interview, I was like, you got Pierre Anthony? Yeah, Pierre Cole. We got me and Pierre. He the only person that was on the first one that's on the second one other than Chill. And that's only because all Chill did was a hook. So I don't kind of want it to sound exactly the same. So yeah, but Pierre, my dude.
How did you choose your features for album 2?
Progression. It was about getting bigger. And Bodie, my dude, Bodie, he doing his thing. And I felt like in order to upstage a Bodie feature, I had to get, artists of another, the same caliber or higher. And that's what I did. So the first one I got, Black Milk, I think was the first one I got. And I just reached out to his people, sent them a couple links, couple videos, and told them that I wanted to work. And we got an understanding, and he sent me some beats. I picked the beats, and I picked the beat that I wanted. And he sent the verse back, and we rocked out. And that's all it was. And people make stuff a little harder, but as long as you make good music, people don't mind working with you. And I felt like it's only a small list of Detroit lyricists, not rappers, but Detroit lyricists that's respected outside of Detroit. And those are the people that I want to work with. Because if you want to be the best, you have to compete with the best. That's like somebody down the street in a pickup game saying, oh, I'm better than Jordan. You be looking like, bro, I'm straight. So in order to compete at a certain level, I had to get features of a certain level. And that's what I did. And I felt like people need to understand what kind of music you make because it's two different sounds in Detroit. And if I put a bunch of people that you don't know on my album, you're like, oh man, I never heard of these guys. But it's a lot of people that like the hip hop sound and say, okay, well, I know these 3 or 4 names, so I can assume that the album will be along these lines. And that's what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? So it wasn't about just like getting a name. It was about actually competing. You know what I mean? And that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to compete. I feel like I'm one of the best lyricists. Not just in Detroit. I feel like I'm one of the best lyricists in the world. And with Fire and Brimstone, it's a Detroit-based project. So I wanted to get the best lyricists out of Detroit. And right now I'm working on Obi, Royce the 5'9", Calico. Now I'm looking for the third one. Just keep stepping it up. I just want to prove to everybody that, look, I can do this. Like, I really do this. You know what I'm saying?
What is Fire and Brimstone? Like, what does that mean?
In the Bible, it said when he returned, that it would be fire. You know what I'm saying? So it would be fire, brimstone. So if you look at the album covers, which were all done at the same time, like the first one is the setting of the fire, the second one is the process of the fire, and the third one is the aftermath of the fire. And so it all go together. Like everything I do is calculated. I don't just freestyle a bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So with the projects, even though they, like I say, it's a trilogy, but it's 3 different projects and it's 3 different concepts. And with the third one, I'm gonna close it out strong. That's all it's about, just progression. You know, I get bored. That's pretty much all that happened. I got bored. I can put out a CD every 3 to 4 months if I wanted to. So it was just like, man, let me go and step it up and show out a little bit.
Speaking of progression and closing strong, it seems like Detroit is reigning at the top on a national level. You got the Dej Loafs, the Big Sean's, and heavy rotation on the radio. Do you feel like the industry is paying major attention to Detroit right now?
I feel like the industry is looking. They like waiting for us to make a move. And it's basically a cosign thing. Like, let's say Philly, for instance. When Philly was hot, it was because of the talent that was actually coming out of Philly as far as the bigger artists like Beanie Siegel, The Roots. Like, the people that they were actually featuring were actually good too. So if you hear Freeway on a Beanie Siegel song, you can go get a Freeway album and say, oh man, it's dope. And a lot of times what happens is artists get on from Detroit and they co-sign the wrong people. And it's like, that's where it stopped. So with Dej Loaf and Big Sean, which, you know, they kind of actually out the same camp. So it's like a little weird, but a lot of times you have to be careful who you co-sign, who you bring with you, because that could stop the puck. Like, everything could stop with the cosigns. Like, you get the wrong cosigns and it's like, well, we heard you, we good. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we have to, as a city, we have to start bringing the best music to the forefront, because if we keep bringing half artists to the top, then it's like, okay, when people come into Detroit, they're not going to sit and listen to the top 50 artists. Like, they're going to listen to the radio, and if the music on the radio not good, they're going to listen to a couple more artists, maybe that whoever they dealing with co-signing. And if you co-signing all of this bad music, then it's, you know, people going to be right back out on the first thing smoking. So we have to really start pushing the best music and not just, you know, our cousin or whatever, because in order for us to have a real movement, then that's we have to come strong. Like, it's no movement without strength. Forget the numbers, you need strength. I don't care if you have 10 artists that's really good and 100 artists that suck. Like, we need those 10 artists to be pushed to the forefront, and those are artists that need to be on the radio. Those are artists that need to be at the summer jams. You know, they want to charge for summer jams. I don't got a problem with that, you know what I'm saying? But we need to have the best artists there, and we need to start pushing the best product we can push. And I don't feel like Detroit do that. I don't knock other Detroit artists, you know what I mean? I respect everybody that's on their grind, but it's a lot of bad music out here. It's a lot of bad music.
It seems like you kind of shy away from like the local or kind of it rap scene or whatever. Like, is it a reason for that? You just don't want to be meshed in?
I really don't like people that much. So it's not the fact that I'm shying away from local people. I mean, I've been in juveniles all my life, prison all my life. So I'm more like a to myself type of person. Even if you look on Instagram, Facebook, and all of that, I promote music. Like, I wouldn't even have an Instagram page, Twitter page, Facebook page. I wouldn't have none of that if it wasn't for music. So anything on there, I promote music. I got my first son. I'm so happy for him. He smiled all day. It's a couple pictures of him on there, but that's about it personally. Like, I don't like everybody in my business. I got like 3 friends that I had since high school. So it's not necessarily like shying away from it, because I feel like most of the people that's doing the Detroit stuff is all the front. And I'm not that type of person. They just not my type of people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not knocking what they doing. You know, everybody had their own lane. It's just not my type of people, because like a lot of the stuff they rapping about, I really got. A lot of the stuff that they say they doing, I'm really doing. And I know that they not doing it. And they're just not my type of people. I don't feel like because we rap, we should hang together. That's like all the strippers like being best friends. Like, I don't believe in that. Like, we rap. You know, if they want to do a song, I would probably do a song with anybody, but everybody not exactly what I'm looking for my project, so I just don't do a song. I don't have nothing against nobody. I don't have the time to waste to care about what they got going on, really.
Are you looking to be signed to a major label?
If the right situation came along, we'd work something out. You know what I'm saying? I feel like most people sign because they lack funds. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have the funds to properly promote, market, you know, get your music out to the masses, then you'll sign a deal. I'm signed to myself. You know, I feel like you got to be the boss. And any situation that had to be like a partnership, You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't go sign a record deal because I've been in control of my own situation so long. I wouldn't know how to act with a record deal. Like if I want to put out a project and you tell me I got to wait a year, 6 months, all that, I probably wouldn't know how to act. We'd just be beefing. And I seen that with Angel Hayes. Shout out to Angel Hayes. I seen that with her. Like she couldn't even put out her project. And that's hard, coming from an independent situation. And I done put out 6 projects in like 3.5 years. You know what I mean? By the end of the year, it'd be 8 projects in like 4 years. And I couldn't see you telling me I couldn't do something. So I probably wouldn't sign a major record deal, but I would sign a partnership if they came with the right situation.
You talked about having a newborn son. How would you feel if he took on the same career path as his father?
I feel like it'd be easier because I didn't have anybody to give me any real like push, like any real leverage. I had to do everything myself. I started from scratch, had to figure it out, bump my head. I blew a lot of money. With him, I could say, okay, this is how you need to do it. And he could start young, 13, 14, which I did. I had an independent deal at 15, but it still wasn't nobody to say, okay, come on, I'm going to show you the ropes. Because the person I had my deal with, he had his music going on in Motown. So it was like, now rap is a whole different thing. But if he wanted to pursue music, I feel like it'd be easier for him because he'd have more of a better starting point. I had to start from the line. It was nothing else. I had to start from the line. And that's what took so long. It took a lot of head bumping and falling and figuring out and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just now actually getting a good grounding. And actually every day I learn. So I feel like it'd be good for him. Even though I wouldn't want him to do it. I'm not a person that say go to school and get all that. But I would rather him get something a little more stable. You know what I'm saying? Like, son, hey, don't you want to own the Cleaners? Get your George Jefferson on. You know what I'm saying? Let's go get you a Cleaners.
Tell us about the Big Hef tour.
It was fun. I had a good time. Shout out to Big Hef, Def Jam and everybody. They threw the tour. I got new PR people. And they twins, AJ and SJ. And they do the College of Hip Hop. And before we even started working, I just told them, this is what I need, and they made a couple calls and got me on the tour, and I had a good time. And we actually putting together a Fire and Brimstone tour, and Pierre Anthony is on it. Shout out to Pierre Anthony. They love Pierre Anthony. Shout out to Pierre Anthony, Jovi, Gangrene, and Nep gonna do a couple dates. Just regular, the people that's on the project. So we doing a Fire and Brimstone tour. I don't know exactly how many cities we looking at. Somewhere around 10. So it might be 9, it might be 12, depending on how good it go. We might end up doing a second leg a few weeks later or whatever. But we putting it together. It's like almost done, but it's gonna happen. So.
Do you have a favorite Fire and Brimstone track?
I like the single. It's a single that's it's like the only really radio song that's on either the first one or the second one. And I like it because the reception's been good. The Nerve DJs picked it up, so they all the way behind it. Shout out to the Nerve DJs. It's like 1,500 of them. I just had to do like 2,000 drops, but I finished them right before I came here. So they got their drops. So I just sent it in the email. And basically it's picking up steam, and I haven't even put it out yet. So it's good. They've been playing it for since I've been on the tour, since we went on the tour. And Living Life is like celebratory because I've been grinding since I touched down. I'm talking about I've been busting my butt, and I lose sleep, I work, I do everything. And Living Life is basically like the champagne popping, you know what I mean? We good. Like I say, I'm driving a foreign car. I don't live in the hood no more. I'm really enjoying life right now. I just had my first baby. I'm just, I'm excited. Everything is positive. It's not really like I'm climbing up the hill anymore. It's this ain't exactly where I want to be. I want to be on top of the pop charts, but I'm in a great place and I feel good. I feel good, and that's what the song is about. I was listening to it on the way in here. It just feel good. It's for the summer. It feel good though. So that's my favorite song on there. And it's not I'm singing on the song and everything. Doing my Rich Homie Quan.